first day I woke up and it had made me money and I didn't come up with the idea, I didn't implement the idea, and I didn't check the idea and there was money in my bank account. And I was like, oh my God. Every single business will have its own AI operating system specific to them in the next couple of years, or they will be out of business.
A personal experience last week, we had a new engineer in Germany joining the team. Very highly qualified, work on the same project we work on. And her first question was, where's my Excel subscription?
Oh God.
Like Excel, does anybody still have it? She literally quit within a week.
Guys, I'm a level 1 autism, severe ADHD. I struggle to keep focus. This is really hard for me. It's the biggest dopamine help that I have. This keeps me stimulated. I still don't trust all my agents. Over time, I trust them more and more, and I give them more and more trust as they build trust. It's like an employee, right?
So we're back with Joe Che, and the next thing we're going to do is going to take even the most beginners started with their business through the multiple levels of what AI is. Everybody talks about AI, but AI can be many different things depending on where you are, depending on your training, your experience, your exposure, everything else. So super excited to see your step-by-step guide how to get in there.
This is more of just an understanding of where are you and where you can go. Because one of the big unlocks that everyone can have is the, oh my God, it can do that moment. So that's what I really, and my oh my God, it can do that moment was the first day I woke up and it had made me money and I didn't come up with the idea, I didn't implement the idea, and I didn't check the idea and there was money in my bank account. And I was like, oh my God. I had many along the way, but so the levels of AI capability. One, you're a bystander. Do you know it exists? You don't touch it. You're scared of it. Level 1, you use it, ChatGPT, you ask it questions, it's like Google, comes back with some good answers. 2, you use it to actually bring back and you put it in some copy, it gives you back some better copy, maybe it writes some emails, it writes some stuff for you. Level 3, you're actually building something with it, you're creating a real asset. Maybe you're getting to make images or PDFs for you or things like that. Level 4, you're actually starting to get to use things that are helpful for your business. Gmail, Docs, Notion, Canva, Slack. It's starting to interact with that. Level 5 is you're using it for your business knowledge. You got your level, you got your brain dump, you got your second brain, you're talking to it. Level 6, you're actually starting to build stuff with it. It's building websites for you, dashboards, prototypes, little apps to make your life easier. Level 7, really you're starting to connect to the APIs, forms, calendars, CRMs, databases. It's all talking to each other. Level 8, you're running repeated workflows. This is where you start saving 20 to 30 hours of your week when you start getting into level 8. Now, what you do with that's another option. That's another question. Level 9, you have your agents. These agents are actually taking action across these platforms. Level 10, you have managers and project managers for this. Then we start getting higher. Level 12, you have a whole system architecture. Level 15, and there's some levels in between, but we'll keep it simple. You're an AI operating system owner. You have an AI operating system. And mark my words of this prediction. Every single business will have its own AI operating system specific to them in the next couple of years, or they will be out of business. Every single business will have their own AI operating system that does everything for them and helps them, or they will not be in business unless they're doing something that doesn't require computers at all, trimming hedges. Next, level 18, and we can go on from there. Level 40 is you made Claude code, okay? So just out of polling the audience, I want you to, just quick poll, we don't have to get this in the video. What levels do you think you're at, more or less? 6? 7? 8? 6. Great. So for the audience, we should speak about level 1 and 2. But then hopefully maybe sometime we can start speaking about how to get from that 6 to a 10 or 12. I'd be happy to show you guys that. So those are the levels. Cut back in. Those are kind of the levels of AI, and recognizing where you are. And really what you want to get to is you don't need to be at these 12 to 40. Really, as a business owner, if you can get up to that 8 to 12 area, that's probably all you need to go. And everything after that is just gravy and so on. But that should be where I would suggest is, as a goal in the next 3 to 6 months, try to get there if you can. Because what that does is you now have 20, 30, 40, sometimes 80 hours of work done that you didn't do. So what can you do with that? Go spend time with your kids, go drink a coconut, or go do more work. Serve more people, make more money. It's up to you. Serve the people that you're here to serve.
Yeah. It makes a huge difference. One quick rundown about you personally, Joe. Your cohabitation with your agents, how does your day look like? Like, what functions are they actively performing for you? Like, from the moment you wake up in the morning, they're not going to brush your teeth yet,
No.
but where does it start?
Well, it starts with, I have a reports from every project manager that comes in to my Telegram with a reply button on it. And so I read, well, actually, I take that back. The first report I get is from my shaman, who says, gives me a signal and reminds me to meditate, get focused, get clear on what I actually need to do today. And that comes in before anything else. And it's no other reports are allowed to come in till that one comes in. Guys, I'm a level 1 autism, severe ADHD. I struggle to keep focus. This is really hard for me. These agents make it way harder. And it's the biggest Ritalin or, dopamine help that I have. I haven't been depressed in a long time. I get depressed easy. This keeps me stimulated. So that my day looks like, Joe, go focus, go meditate, go take care of your body, go to the gym. Then I get a slew of reports from each project manager telling me what they did overnight, what they think I should do and what I should focus on. And I give them replies and I set them in motion. And one thing we can talk about is goal levels. When you give a command, there's different goal levels. We'll talk about that later. So I reply to those reports and then I figure out what actually moves the needle for what I want to accomplish. And then I start working on those.
So we talked about OpenClaw. I mean, I think March 2026, even though we both don't use much OpenClaw anymore, but it was kind of a breakthrough, right? It's when agents kind of came out of the box. Like, for me, the big foundational change was that so far, so we've kind of been limited to agents and them handshaking with others. But when OpenClaw came out, the agent orchestration and the connection between different solutions that are now orchestrated by a master AI was, again, the completely next level of evolution of orchestrating AI solutions. It was actually not really evolution in AI itself. It was an evolution in the orchestration of AI. What specific tool do you use right now to make your agent orchestra or army, whichever way? I'm a musician, right? So I like to call them orchestra. You might call them army. What is your core system right now that makes that work?
I built it.
Okay.
So I also, when OpenClaw came out, I was banging my head against the wall, trying to get this thing to be useful. And then at some point I realized I didn't need OpenClaw, so I built my own. It's called All Sorted. This is one of the products I go into businesses and just hand them all the agents that already talk to each other with all the routing and the token, efficiency. But for someone that's not out there, there's some new ones. Is anyone using OpenClaw anymore? It's been dead for a while, I think. But Hermes has come out. Some people are using that one. When that came out, my system was like, this is kindergarten, don't use it. So I didn't use it. So I'm at a bit of a further level, but I think for people starting out, I think Hermes might be a good starting out.
I can admit we use Hermes.
Yeah.
Like as the ground level, like we use Hermes agents.
I don't think it's an admission. It's just whatever serves you. Like, we need to remember that these are just a tool to serve our core purpose, nothing else.
And again, I think sometimes we forget that that is a personal experience last week. We had a new engineer in Germany joining the team.
Yeah.
Very highly qualified, work on the same project we work on, but now she finally joined the company. So our goal was to bring her up to speed on the technology, on the tools that we are using internally.
Mm-hmm.
And her first question was, where's my Excel subscription?
Oh God.
And you're gonna ask, like, everybody in the room is like Excel, like who, like, and they really had to look at, like, does anybody still have it? Like if I want an Excel sheet, I asked Claude to write it for me. We could not find a single Microsoft subscription left within our company to give to her. But we said, listen, we should talk about codecs. We should talk about all this other technology. And she literally quit within a week.
Mm.
And the quitting was because, like, she was at, even though she's a high-level engineer, she was maybe at a level 2 or level 3 and was not able to just kind of embrace the opportunity and fear, right? And I know that you teach a lot of people, before we're going to look at the agent, I know that you teach a lot of people that are working on this level 1 or level 2. Like, how do you take them through that process of not being afraid and trying things out and not giving up and say, listen, I have to run on this 150-mile-per-hour train already. I'd rather go back to the tools that I know. Like, how do you get people engaged?
Really, in my mastermind, what we do is I start them with something very simple. I say, we're going to build a web page. That's it. And a lot of them are very scared in the beginning because it's the black box is a little intimidating at first, quite frankly. And they just talk to it. I want a web page, and I have them drop some images, drop some text in a terminal, and then it spits them out a web page that's live on the internet, and they go, whoa. And there's usually about 20-30% of the people in this that are just like scared, and it's always cracks me up because then every single time, a week or two after, the same person that was terrified, I remember this one guy, super terrified. You know, he does a lot of, he's a very high level clinical psychologist. He works with all this like very sensitive data, so, you know, rightfully scared to protect the data. A week later, he goes, Joe, I literally just built an entire system that goes into my email and then talks with my Notion. I didn't teach him any of this. It's a mindset shift that as soon as it flips, it just opens up this world of possibility. So what I would say to people is play. Just have fun with it. Do something that you're like, I'm curious about. And then you just do something that doesn't have a high consequence if it goes wrong. And then when you see it, the trust builds a little bit. I still don't trust all my agents. Over time, I trust them more and more. And I give them more and more trust as they build trust. It's like an employee, right? You don't give them I have an employee that has the keys to all of my bank accounts. He could wipe me out in a second. Took a while to build that trust, right? Same thing with your agents. Go slowly, work within your window of tolerance of what feels good for you. Don't overwrite your fear. Work within it. Go slow, build it up.
I assume something we handle internally every single day. Do you feel that there's a difference between the performance and trust level you put into different agents, even though they're based on the same technology?
Yes, absolutely. It's all in, when you have an employee, you give them an orientation. Here's how to do things. Here's how I want them to be done. And then it's the same thing with your agents. I have a branding agent. So I go get it trained. It knows me. It goes out. It's trained for researching about branding. In the beginning, I don't really trust it, right? And then it does something. I'm like, oh, you get me. It spits out good data. It spits out good branding. I'm like, I agree with that. And when it gives me crap, I just say, hey, that's not the direction. We steer it just like an employee. And then once you get to the point that it's giving you things that are useful to you and really good, then you start creating what are called loops. And a loop is very simple. It's just a set of questions. You define your goal, and then it says, okay, I know what the goal is. I need to get my SEO better. I need better rankings on Google, better rankings in ChatGPT. That's a goal. So you give it a goal and a mission. Then you tell it to ask the question, what is my current ranking? And then it's going to say, then you give it a task. Go make my current ranking better. And then at the end, it says, is my current ranking better? If the answer is no, go do the whole process again. And do that infinitely until my ranking is 2 points better. And so it'll run indefinitely until it does what you want it to do. That is what we call a loop. And that's when the agents start getting interesting. And there's some other things we can talk about with the machine learning and the self-evolution. But that's the kind of the basics to take your agent where you give it instruction, go clean the kitchen, to start thinking for itself. That's where it gets interesting.
So I think our experience of we run about 150 agents, many we have forgotten, we retrain them, all this kind of thing. The experience we have made is really that it takes training.
For sure.
And I think a lot of people that are getting started with, they kind of expect that this is like a software tool. Like we used to have software tools that out of the box they used to work. Like this is really more like teaching children, optimizing their behavior, their processes, educating them. Like we literally have programs where agents get educated by other agents and get better. So I think people in general, they feel like this doesn't work the first time out of the box. They kind of get scared and they're like, well, what are the ramifications of that? It takes time, it takes effort, it takes convincing, it takes finding your own language with the agent. All my agents, for example, and this is a true story, all my agents have old German male names.
Sounds
right?
sexist.
Now, it is super weird, but like the first time I had a biology agent, her name was Annabelle. We had massive internal problems. She just would not execute. I'm not making this up. We had like internal meetings about this with my, own counsel. And my own counsel told me, well, Annabelle just lacks the discipline. Annabelle had the same hardware and software installed and the same training than all the other agents. So internally, I would go as far, my experience, that all my agents are now called Hans and Franz and Rudolf and Siegfried. I kid you not, all my agents, if they're important, have old school, old male German names. And I would write a thesis about it, but I don't have the time to do it. I promise you they perform better than Annabelle. That's my feeling. Taken from this is really just an agent is not something you just plug in. It's not a software tool that works on day one. It's a process, right? And it has been your process as well.
I have not had that experience. For me, when I was in New York, I used to train, the top Fortune 5 CEOs. I'd be in the top of the world of New York in these boardrooms, and they're paying me many thousands of dollars an hour. And I would look around the room and it was all males. And sometimes there would be a woman in the corner taking notes. And I made a commitment to help. And New York's supposed to be pretty gender equal. I made a commitment to only hire high-level CEO managers and women whenever I could. And to this day, I still mostly
I personally do as well. But when it comes, I would try it out. I would try it out, and we can run a comparison. Show us one of your agents. I'm sure that visually, graphically, is not super exciting, but
no, not very exciting.
just show us how it runs so people have an idea. We're not talking about Jarvis here. We're not going to have like 3D imagery floating around us right now.
So what I'm doing is I am remoting tail scaling into my computer. So it might be a little slow and not everything's going to work because the permissions are pretty locked down, but I put this up for you guys. So in my mastermind, one of the things I get to is I give them a CRM board, because if you're not using a CRM for your business, guys, you are leaving money on the table for sure. how many times you get a WhatsApp message, an Instagram message, an email, you talk to someone at the party. You can't keep track of that, where they are in the stages. Take them through a journey. Take them through the ladder of trust to experience you. Because for any of you guys that are doing stuff, if you're selling $3,000-$5,000 items, most people do not buy a $3,000, $5,000 item, they treat whatever until they experience you. So take them through that journey.
Well, you said,
We have a lower level audience on the podcast, and you have a very high level audience. So I think we should get some juicy stuff after we get through the basics.
absolutely.
All right. So basically, what I want to show you, I have a product called All Sorted. And what I do is I take an entire dashboard and AI operating system with a visual front end with about 120, 130 agents that are pre-built. So your Instagram agent, we have the professor for the self-learning. We have all the basic stuff with your Notion, your Google agents, your email agent. Is anything you can think about, these pre-built agents that are all talking to each other. And then there's a dashboard, because I see a really big gap between people who are starting out in AI and what they can use it for their business. So I want to see people use. So this product, basically, I just give them a Mac Mini with pre-installed. I pre-install it. So that's the context of what this is. This is a couple pieces of it. There's hundreds of dashboard pages on it. But essentially, you always want a task board. In this task board, you want to have a column that's an auto-executing column so that you can send things to it. But so that way, if you make a task, it basically executes it for you. Then what I want to show you is, for example, it's got a carousel builder UI on it, where you can give it what you're looking for. Choose, do you want like a unique image? Or maybe you want a panoramic image background. You can search for it. It pulls from all the image generation ones. And then it shows you what it looks like on Instagram and LinkedIn. You can see that the carousel, this one, I wanted more like something a little bit more interesting. So it's got panoramics. And then when it's done, you can post it to Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, or all of them at the same time. This is kind of like just a couple examples of dashboards. I like this testimonial. I do a lot of testimonials, like I said. So this is it's when sometimes you build the process first and then you put the UX on it. This one, my employees can drop in a video, and then it goes through. It has a very precise way to make sure that it's looking for the text that's actually going to speak to my ICP. And then it will spit out a long and a short testimonial. And then automatically, these ones I actually approve or have someone approve because I want eyes on them. Later on, when it gets so good that I trust it completely, I'll have it do it automatic. Another small example is, I hate WhatsApp. I had a business for 5 or 6 months with an agentic guy in San Francisco, and we had done a bunch of VC stuff with it. And WhatsApp is my biggest pain point. So we built an entire system that makes your WhatsApp really easy to use. So as it comes in, it triages it, it tags all, puts it in the CRM. You can message in, if I message someone in English, you can mark them in a different language. So they get the Bahasa, and if they message Bahasa, comes back as English. It deletes all my annoying chats. It watches those chats. It follows clients. Does a lot of cool stuff with it, and also answers questions automatically. So if a mastermind student comes in like, I'm having trouble getting this to work with Notion, it will actually solve those problems and message them back. And then we got approved by Meta, and then we realized that their API is completely useless, basically broken. So I built another one. So that's like an option of what you guys can do. You use it. This is an SEO sort of dashboard where I can pick from all the websites that I'm managing at this, some of the websites. It's still not dialing in. You click a button, it ranks it, and then it fixes everything for you. And you can see it go up over time. Mm-hmm. Another one is automatic blog writing. So what this does is it essentially goes out, you give it discoveries of what you're trying to look for. So you have a discovery database of like, hey, this Reddit. It's kind of like what you were sharing earlier. It knows where to go, where the signals are, pulls everything all together, writes those blogs, rates those blogs, SEOs it, and then automatically puts up 2 a day. So that's like another option of business processes that you can do. Another ones that we can do. Let's see what else maybe can show you. Oh, I love this one. This one has been going out the last couple months and researching passive income ideas that people are talking about on the internet. You know how your Instagram and is probably the same. It's like, I made so much money using AI, right? Everybody's so it goes, finds all of those, transcribes them, does the research to see if there's actually meat on the bone with that, logs those. I have now 856, and then I have a bunch of agents that picks the one that is the most amount of money, the least difficulty, the highest automatable, and where that source is coming from, and it just builds those on its own. So it's constantly just building me passive income, and then it spins up agents. If there's a good traction lane, then it will spin up a project manager that loops on all of those. Actually, if you guys want, I have a service where it's just a couple bucks a month where I take all these ideas that I send you 10 to 20 of them every week if you want to learn on those. Because like I can't build 156 ideas. So just giving those away for a few bucks.
Key tool, Joe?
Huh?
Are you on Claude, or what is your...
I am completely provider agnostic. So I've gotten banned twice from Claude. By the way, if you, it sucks. It's a kick in the nuts when your whole system is running on one system. So all sorted runs on anything. I primarily use Claude and Codex with, but my low level reasoning is much cheaper on Gemini.
Okay.
So, but it doesn't matter. In one line, when we get into deeper stuff, I'll show you guys exactly how to do that or give you some tips on this. This one's a session pipeline wrap up. I like this one because like because I'm doing a lot of teaching of the business automation masterminds. You know, we have a lot of people in them. They ask questions. They run into difficulties. After the session, I had to do a ton of shit. And in the beginning, it took me about 2 to 3 hours to wrap up that session. So what this does is, and this I think is a good example, it knows my Zoom session recording. So it goes to Zoom, gets the cloud recording, pulls it down, gets the transcript, make sure it's the right recording. Then after it gets a transcript, it trims out any the beginning or the end or all the little pauses and breaks that we take. Then it uploads it back to YouTube. Then it adds it to my portal automatically, the right session. Then it used MLX Whisper to get a second by second transcription. That goes to my VPS, runs it on my VPS so it doesn't bog down my machine. Then it generates a bunch of clips, any wow moments from that. Oh my God, I just built the thing. I had trouble. Now I'm unblocked. It generates all those clips. Right now I'm having a human approve those manually because I don't trust it so much. Then it imports it into Descript, adds studio sound, puts it on the timeline. It does a bunch of other AI things in Descript. Then it analyzes all the chats. And then it finds all the questions that were not answered, that I was not able to answer in that session, answers all those questions, puts those in a database, answers those questions, WhatsApp and emails them the answers to all the questions I was not able to do. Then it goes through an editorial review. Then it puts it in a Notion database, and then creates a bunch of things for my editor. If I want my editor to do some manual things, then it does a bunch of things. So now it knows that as soon as the session's done, it runs that whole process for me, saving me a bunch of hours.
If you have already done the work, right? So if I'm now using your Joe OS, can I just use this, or do I still need to go? We started on using terminal, right? Do I still need to go back into terminal and do this thing myself, or can I just say, listen, Joe OS, I want to use the same function for my own business case?
What I did was, most people are scared of the terminal, so I built something called the Genie that comes with the all sorted. And what it does is you make a wish. You say, I want this process to do this or to do that. And then what it does is it makes that happen. You can dictate it to it. And all it is, for those that know what it is, it's just a wrapper, the Cloud Code or Codex, depending on what you're using. But what I like about it is I built in undo buttons. So everything that you do, you can undo, or you can undo from this point backwards, which for the geeks in the house, it's just Git on the back end. So that way it's a little bit more user friendly. So you don't need to use terminal anymore. You can use the Genie. It's a little bit friendlier, and you can undo things that happen. Because, you know, as we talked about, terminal feels a little scary for people. So I want to make a nice UI for it. And so the Genie is a kind of a playful way for me to give people the terminal to make the AI operating system. Because remember I said my prediction is every business will have an AI operating system. And I'm just trying to expedite that by giving them one instead of being like, because I mean, how many of you guys have stayed up for 16 hours, 6 in the morning, banging your head against the terminal, not wanting to sleep, trying to build, oh, just one more thing. And it's like you run into walls. There's some really difficult walls. And over time you get through them. But it would be great not to subject that torture to other people. Right. So I try to make it easy.
And again, quick summary. I want to thank, just between the two of us, everybody for coming out tonight, because I said the overreaching goal for this upcoming Monday events is to get all of you guys out, share, connect. We're all in a place where we're not born. We all didn't go to university together. We're in a very transient place. The two of us have been here together in Bali longer than most people. Yeah. So 8 years for me, 6 years for you. We need this kind of meeting spaces where we can geek out, where we can connect and have a good time while doing it. Otherwise, Bali can be very, very lonely. And so just from my side, thank you all very much. I think we met a lot of great people tonight already. I hope you make this your new home. And now let's go to level 3 of AI.
Let's just ground for a second, bring it back in because the energy got a little tough. So everyone just take a breath in, round, dropping all the words. Just breathe into the nose. Focus on the diaphragm, out through the mouth. Into the nose. Out through the mouth. Yeah, that feels better. So we're about to get a little geeky. What we're about to show you is more of a high level in the 10 to 15 range of AI use. Every time you make a call or request a command, the ideal scenario, or one of the ideal scenarios, looks something like this. You want to have any hard gates. You want to start with any hard gates. Anything that you don't want it to do. Then you're going to go into what's called the typed evidence. And what you're going to do is you're going to have a bunch of files. The first file is your fast path. So these are places that you're going all the time. Your projects, your Stripe agents, your Instagram. It's going to have like think of them like shortcuts. Then after that, you're going to have your projects indexed. So that means if you have multiple projects, multiple businesses, they need to know. And then what you're going to go into is your capabilities. This is a file with all your skills in it. And then you need a skills needs to also be indexed. So it's at first in your skills file, it's a list of all the skills, but only a little bit about them. And they're organized by your tasks. So all your social media is going to be organized together. All your website stuff is organized together. And it just explained a little bit about what they do. And then that leads to other skill files that are complete. And then what we have is another thing, which is a context router, which so your agent, your orchestrating agent is feeding, everything's going through there. And so it's going and it's asking, hey, is there a fast path? If so, use it. Okay. If not, go figure out what project is associated with, and it creates a scope around that. And we'll explain why in a second. Then it's like, okay, well, what can I do? And then it's going to deeper context. And the reason is, by default, when you make a command, what Claude Code or Codex does is it literally just sends out grep, which stands for go look for everything everywhere. Imagine having a garage that you just throw all your stuff in, There's no organization, right? So what we're doing is we're taking our messy garage, putting a bunch of shelves with boxes that are labeled, with folders inside of those, with instructions inside of those. So what happens is it's first going, it's saying big command. And it's like, okay, great. So it looks, hones, laser beams in, and then follows that to where it needs to go very quickly. This is how you go from $4,000 a month of tokens for a couple hundred or even less, okay? Then what it does, it looks for the owner or the context of this. So the owner is your project managers, etc. Then this is where it gets interesting, and keeps cutting out. So we're just going to take a pause for a second. Then after that, it goes to what's called the execution lane. What I've built is something that essentially does these things called recipes. It starts to look to see if there's a recipe that is already built.
Again, just one point, I think, I don't know if we agree on this yet. I'm going to ask Joe in a second when he's back. We run most of our agents on dedicated machines. And I think there's a huge case for it. Like, we would do the same thing. We would have server computers, which might be as little as a Mac Mini for a few $100, set up, which we would externally enter. Has a few benefits. You talked about terminal. Giving your agent access to your terminal is amazing. It makes it super powerful. But also on the other side, it has access to everything on that computer. So well, how we do it right here is that we literally have all different agents run on separate machines, and they only have access to what is vital to them on that machine for a specific project.
I can't find any more Mac Minis to buy him.
I bought them all.
I know, he bought them all. So then the next is it looks for recipes. A recipe, think of it as like input output. So for example, if let's say I talk to you and I'm like, oh my God, I love your mission. I want you in the mastermind. You can't afford it. The recipe is create a Stripe, a promotional code in Stripe that has a discount, and then send them a WhatsApp message and an email. That's like a recipe. It has an input and an output. And you want to always go to your recipes first. And if they can't find a recipe, then it goes to a skill. If they can't find a skill, that's when it goes and looks in the messy garage and starts rummaging through everything. So that way you're getting places faster.
And Joe, just one question. Do this within your Joe OS, or you do this like in the Claude soul files, identity files, or?
It's its own set of files. So like in the beginning, when you start, you have this thing called a soul.md, a user.md, and a CLAUDE.md. This is a whole nother level. So it's like the CLAUDE.md is pointing to the dispatching MD, which is branching out down all these other lanes. It's fanning out.
Do you program your CLAUDE.md?
It just, I have it so it self-evolves, and yeah, it's self-updating. But the CLAUDE.md, I don't ever touch it. Oh, by the way, you guys, I had one of the best CLAUDE.md files in the world. I give it away for free on my website if you guys need. This actually came from the creator of Claude, and I've made it even better. So it's free on my website if you guys want.
So maybe for somebody who hasn't worked with the MD files, the remarkable thing is that at the back end of every AI agent that we use, or provider, in that case, Claude, there's literally like an MD file, which is like a menu in a restaurant that tells you step by step what it's going to do, how it prioritizes, and everything else. And I think especially if you're not, let's say, on that level yet, where you have a self-optimizing memory system that reminds the agent, the easiest step you can take is to self-optimize your Claude file to remember the most vital things, so they never forget about them again. And I think that's, like I said, for us, almost lesson number one. We do this differently. We start with working on your Claude files, because the easiest way to get consistent knowledge into the system that kind of tips the scale of your agent in the direction where you want to be without having to write the whole OS yet.
Yeah, definitely start, if you're at the beginning, definitely start with the CLAUDE.md file. Download the one I have and just tweak it to your own. This starts with Claude. This is a bunch of others. So After it figures out all the intent, then we get into the parallel passive. What this does is it looks to see how many sub-agents it can spawn. We call that fanning out. So that way, instead of it's just like one worker, going out and doing all the hard work, it's like, oh, I could use 20 workers and this worker is going to do this worker is going to do that. And then it comes back together to the main agent. So then it fans out and then it creates the goal scale. The goal scale means something like this. Sometimes you want to tell it to do something and just it comes back and it does it. It's simple. Ask a question, get an answer. But many times I'm like, I need to build an entire website with a marketing place for AI operating systems so other people that can build AI operating systems can put their AI operating systems and we can sell those and get a cut and they can get theirs out there. That's a big goal, right? It's a big project. So what it does is it identifies the goal scale from 1 to 5. And if it identifies it as a goal scale of 5, it will run forever until it accomplishes the entire goal and creates all the tasks. So that's very important. And then the last thing it does is it picks the model routing. And what that means is you create what are called task classes. Task classes. That means sometimes it's something that you can do that requires a very low level employee. That low level employee is not very smart, but he's cheap. Or a mid-level employee that's kind of like can do some reasoning, a little bit more expensive. And other times you need CEO level, but he's very expensive. So by doing this, the last piece is to choose that model routing. This particular one is provider agnostic, meaning it can use Claude Code, Codex, Gemini, and you can plug in whatever, Kimi 2.5 if you want.
DeepSeek and Kimi for us.
Yeah.
Go
What
to
are you using?
DeepSeek for V4, yeah, Pro.
Okay. Much better?
It's next level.
Okay, great. I haven't tried that one. So I'll go home and I'll put that I'll run a shadow tester to see if it's true.
Test it against Opus 4.7 directly.
Great.
Like no
Cheap,
prisoners.
too.
10% the cost.
Okay.
Right.
Learn something new. Great. I've been a little scared of that one because for a couple of reasons, and that's worth it. So this is kind of the idea is every request goes through, and this happens within milliseconds. All this happens within milliseconds because of the way that this is optimized. The idea is it comes in, finds context, projects, finds the right person, then decides, this is something I do all the time? And then if you do something 2 or 3 times, it will create a recipe for you automatically. So that way, instead of going out and having to figure it out every single time, it's kind of like writing an SOP for your employees, right? Every time they do something, you want them, it's in your business, it writes an SOP and then it can follow that SOP. Saves a lot of tokens, saves a lot of costs, everything done faster. The next time you need to run, run something that's kind of quick. So that's a little bit more of the high level if you're up to 9 to 10. And this, by the way, this is what I'm teaching in one of my courses that's coming out in a week or two. And I actually kind of just silver platter and hand it to you, and then you can tweak it for yourself.
No, but I think it's very convincing. Where can we go? Your mastermind is already sold out, but if they might need another one
in a couple of weeks. Yeah, it's just I can send you it's mastermindshq.business. Just join the little wait list. I'll let you know when I get the next one scheduled. Probably July 12th is where I'm going to start the next.
But it really sounds like an amazing shortcut. I think the only thing technically we can add, and maybe the professionals here, is we build high performance AI systems and research mainly. So we do some social media stuff, but there's almost like a byproduct on the way there. What I find is that we talked about the 3 levels of AI, right? We have the chat agent, we have the agent, we have the orchestrated agent. And I think where the level is that blows my mind now is that these orchestrated agents are now able to trigger software systems that are highly specified. So when we talk about MCP orchestrated agents, you can have a system that is doing a simulation of a very complex biological, physical process in the real world, like a farming challenge, for example. And now AI goes to that thing where it runs its own neural networks. It knows in order to solve a query, which you have given through your desk, I need to go from A to C. it is not just limited anymore through automations, agents, Google information it can find. It can literally spin up its own MATLAB simulations, for example. It has been the scientific standard, which runs on code. So it now runs its own code that actually now spins up an entire neural network, which then feeds back into your system. And I think as we all sit here together, and I think bringing this to a closing, you have shown in an amazing way the flexibility, the ability, and the adaptability of your specific AI system. Right? This is the Joche OS. I don't know what it's really called. What has a real name?
All sorted.
Yeah, this is. You just call it the Joche OS from now on.
Getallsorted.ai is what it is. Yeah.
And now, for somebody who has been in venture capital for the last 20 years, how many millions and billions of dollars and deep tech workers has it taken you to bring your own technology to that level?
Guys, this is 3 months. That's it. In the masterminds, I got people that are scared, like light workers, energy, kundalini people, literally quadrupling. I didn't know this after they had $300 in the bank account. They did a $30,000 launch and learning 2 hours a week for 4 weeks. That's it. It's not hard. Speaking English. She was actually speaking German. So you guys in this room are mostly there. Do you want, I can help you get you to the higher level. For those at home that are watching, with the right guidance and some spoon feeding, you can get there very quickly, 1 or 2 months, easily. And we're not talking about 1.5xing, we're talking massive. So if you're there, spend some time with it, because your competitor it's going to get harder and harder as time goes on to play in that ball field. It's like going to war with no with a baseball bat, and everyone else has got mechanical tanks and airplanes and drones. It's going to get harder. Not to scare you, but this is the reality where we are. So you're serving people, and remember, you cannot serve if you cannot earn. So own it, feel it. It's your right. Earn for service. If you do that, universe will take care of you. AI too.
So my final question was my first question. How transformational is this technology to every single one of us?
This is the most disrupted thing I've ever seen in business, and it is moving so fast. Every few days, something huge is coming out. Don't let that scare you. Once you're ahead just a little bit, it's easier to stay ahead. The longer you wait, the harder it's going to be to catch up. Just get on the train. You're not on the train. Get on the train. It's going to go faster and faster. You will be okay. Remember, all you need to do to be able to build things is speak one language, any language, and you can do it.
Amazing. Mr. Joche, I want to thank you so much for your time, for all the information he's sharing. I mean, he could have been selling this in thousands and thousands of dollar classes right now. It's what I love about Bali. It's the sharing economy. It's about sharing the knowledge you have gathered through hours and hours and hours. Anybody out there still wants to sign up to his masterclass or the following one, I think there are going to be many, many more. I can say from my perspective, impressive.
Thank you.
As a one-man operation, we take a lot more people to work on your level, my friend. It's amazing, and I hope there was a lot of valuable information for every single one of us. And again, the Bali community never fails to amaze me. Like, we all moved to Bali because we felt limited, we felt trapped in our old corporate careers, wherever we did in the rest of the world. There is no limit to what we can achieve on this island. And I want us all to live this. I want us all to appreciate this on a daily basis. This is the Bali State of Mind podcast. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.